Hey everyone, and welcome to Dose of Truth Tarot and our tarot chat for the week. It is the 4th of May, 2022. It's May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you, yes.
Yeah. Or May the 4th. Yes. What do you want to talk about this week, Terryann?
But first, let's tell them to smash the like button,
Oh,
subscribe, share with your friends.
yay!
You know, that really helps us out. You know, if you're listening, come on, share with your friends and help us out. Help us to get our numbers up, so you know we can be doing more for you.
Yeah,
that's really the priority here, is to be doing more and more, so you can have more and more access to all of the different things that, you know, my years and years and years of experience and reading and education can be at your disposal. Okay, so it's all here.
and mine a bit. Yeah.
And also, don't forget to check, you know, our Dose of Truth Tarot website, and you can take the course. It's a year-long course. You could take it at your own pace. It's all recorded, and yeah, you could have fun. And this is a good place for you to, you know, continue your education.
Link in the description.
Link in the description, yes. So thank you. We have to learn. It's learning how to do all these things too, right?
We normally do this at the end, but we're like, Terryann loves doing it at the beginning. We like mixing things up.
At the beginning. Yeah. No, I watch other people and what they do, and they do it at the beginning. So yeah. So yeah, so one of the things that is sort of coming up as a theme this week and last week actually is resentment. And in combination with, right now, we're in pre-retrograde for Mercury. Right? So this
Everyone always starts panicking when they hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it's wow, you know, I think it's 4 times a year we get to go into retrograde, and Mercury's all about, you know, the intellect and
communication.
You know, one of the things that, what's that?
Communication.
Right. So anything that has to do with intellect, but usually we use the mind, so we misinterpret, we communicate badly, we see things from one perspective only. So you get into an argument, like somebody might be coming from one place, another person's coming from another place, you start talking and you argue about it. I remember when I was a kid and I used to listen to, you know, the dinner table. We're of Greek origin, so, you know, lots of dinner table conversations. One person would start talking, another person would start talking, and they'd start arguing, and I'd be there. But you're both talking about something completely different, even though it's the same subject. You know, it's the exact same subject, but you both are coming from a different definition of that subject. Right? Like resentment could be one thing to one person, to another. If Eloise, so the way we can have a conversation is Eloise presents how she sees resentment. I can, present how I see resentment, and you out there can see your ways of experiencing resentment. There is no right and wrong. It's really all of it together, and being able to see things in a holistic view. But when we just see one angle, well, that's immediately misinterpretation. And that's where Mercury, yeah, usually we say electronics go and all that kind of stuff. But for what does it mean for us personally? So one of the things I've noticed is that I just kind of tune into, I didn't know it was Mercury in retrograde, but I could feel it happening. And I was like, oh, I can already feel Mercury was going into retrograde. So before we started, I said, Eloise, I think it's going into retrograde. Let's check it out. And it is, we're in pre-retrograde. So you can kind of feel, this is how I feel it. Remember, this is not a fact. This is just a way that my intuition interprets what's going on. So I feel Mercury, which is the intellect. Miscommunication can be the negative, and it starts to go in retrograde. And for me, what is happening in my body? Well, it starts to go almost back through all the files. And it's like going through our filing cabinet of stuff. And it can spew it out and then go, oh, I don't feel so good and I don't know what's wrong with me. And, you start having arguments and, or you could become really fearful, or you start to get really sad, which is great. This means the emotions are moving. But if you're misinterpreting whatever's going on in you, that's a problem. So what I thought to bring up today is, since we're just, at the pre-retrograde phase, you can kind of sit down and write down, what is it you'd like to release from your system? And of course, we're making a focus here of resentment. And resentment is, reviewing the files of the past and being really angry about what somebody did. And also feeling angry about not having said something. That's a big one. People said, I didn't say this, I didn't say that. Another one is, well, I didn't act when I could have acted. There was a moment I had an opportunity and I didn't take action with that opportunity. And it's somebody else's fault that I didn't take action, or you say it's your fault.
Yeah.
But in the end, even if
blame
you think
game.
the blame game, so blaming yourself, blaming someone else, usually, we're blaming someone else, but ultimately we're resentful of our own action or inaction or whatever we've done. So you might want to sit down and write it down, even really difficult times, where someone did something terrible to you. I've had things where terrible things happened to me. And, when I want to go through releasing it, that would mean the emotional content, the traumas. You could do it that much in depth. Write it down, and then while you go through retrograde, experience what's going on in you and see how much is released. And then you could go next retrograde and release more or something else. Is that clear? Like, I would write down, the most extreme would be a traumatic event. The other ones are, look, my parents did this or that to me. It could even have happened yesterday, like your parents said something to you, or, dismissed your feelings or your thoughts, right? Emotionally, kids often feel like parents didn't understand. Well, okay, they didn't understand, but you're the one not having understanding for yourself today. And there's a whole bunch of resentments that can come up. So you can think about it in all these different ways. Even if it's someone else, that's fine. You're blaming someone else. Maybe write it down so it can help go through those files and you come out the other end, which is almost the end of the month. We're going to be in post retrograde. Actually, let me check the dates for everyone.
Oh yeah,
because I
haven't memorized them, so
no, I wouldn't bother memorizing them. So no, it's the whole month. So pre-retrograde is all the way to the 10th. Retrograde starts the 11th and ends June 3rd.
Oh wow.
And then the 4th to the 18th of June is post-retrograde. So it really is, people always get, oh God, it's this amount, retrograde is coming. But it's a big chunk of time.
Yeah, and
it
brings us an opportunity. We normally look at the bad side of it with the emails going wrong. My email was going wrong just before I came on, by the way. So it's just like, okay, oh, great. But it is an opportunity to heal.
Right.
And we get this gift a few times a year.
Yeah, it's just being aware of what are those consciousnesses, right? It's working with your thinking, it's working with emotion, it's working with the repetitive thoughts. Sometimes we're not even aware of something that's underlying, simmering under there. But if you work with the one that's coming up for you, then each time Mercury comes, you can work with the next one and the next one, or you do your tarot. So that's how I would say we deal with it. But should we'll pull 3 cards and
let's pull some cards and see what we can contribute.
Let's see what the cards have to say. So I don't know, should I focus on the entire retrograde? Let's see, maybe how about the entire retrograde in May? Because we're then it's full on retrograde, and then June.
So looking at the month.
So we're going to pick 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I haven't looked at them yet. So the first card is, there we go. We got completion, which is 4 of batons. This is about fire. So already it's saying, hey, this is a really good place where, because 4 is not really ending like a 9, where something fully completes, but it is part of a cycle where fire, usually in tarot, we look at fire as a fiery temper, somebody getting angry. So it's saying, okay, good opportunity to complete it. Well, oh my God, another fire card.
We're getting risky today.
Okay, well, if you've got anger, which is part of resentment, frustration, volatility, meanness. Some people would say, but I'm not mean. Just do a little check-in and see if you're mean to yourself. Because if you are playing the blame game, it's mean, and mostly mean to yourself. If you blame somebody else, that's going to be mean to you because you now become the victim of that person. I can't do this because my husband won't let me. That's like me. That's mean to your husband. That's mean to you. Make some choices, take responsibility, and start to live the life you want. And, if literally your husband is not allowing you, well, maybe it's time to shake things up and move into a different direction in your life. Now, what about people who are culturally in an old place? So I'm just thinking of, like in modern day, we can get divorced, we can make changes, we can look for outside help, we can get therapy, but in
some areas, yeah,
for a lot of people around the world, that's not possible. There's family constraints, there's the way marriage looks, there's no divorce. Okay, so what working with this can do is to shift your family dynamic and at least give you a bit more space to breathe. Because if the fire is eating everything up, you can't think properly. So there we go with misinterpretation.
Yeah, there's no air.
So, the Princess of Wands, which is our second card, says, well, you may not be the most adult person, all of us, when it comes to dealing with, resentment and Mercury going into retrograde. Why I pick resentment is because it's so much fire. Okay, and fire definitely has a lot to do with resentment, anger, resentment, blame, rigid thinking. Even some people who play the victim, like, oh, poor me, I can't do anything. My husband controls the money. My husband controls what we're going to do. That sounds really gentle, but it's not. It starts at a very rigid baseline. And the rigid baseline is I'm coming from a place where I already decided what the world is like. But when, you and I know how energy works, and with tarot, it tells you, no, your fire can slowly crack the surface of this rigidity, and that can shift your entire life. So yeah, that you might have to, maybe that's an axiom that you might need to take on faith, but faith is good sometimes, just have faith that, you can, even if it's a minor shift, you can make that shift. Because who knows karmically why you're in the position you're in. If you're in self-pity because, oh, poor you, well, you don't know what you did karmically. You're bigger than just this individual, okay? I'm not going to go into people who are in really terrible situations. I mean, there's a lot that they would have to deal with to face things. We're working with, if we've got a pretty strong system that can deal with things. And with these two cards, it says that you would have a strong system. And the last one, what a beautiful card.
Ooh, what we got?
It's the Lovers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we've gone from 2 fire cards to a major arcana, the Lovers, which is usually the indicator of a marriage, right? So we call it the marriage card, but it's really love. So it's that union of masculine and feminine within. I keep bringing up husbands, so I always follow, if I'm saying something over and over again, and then the card comes up, I'm like, I was already tuning into the idea that, our masculine and feminine, whether it's within or with someone else, it's really important to get these resentments to move. So the cards are indicating, you do need to make peace with certain things. And I think that that really, gives us a nice stamp of approval that we can go through this retrograde, get some of this anger that is debilitating, slowly bring it to a place where it harmonizes. That's another way of looking. That's the way I look at the lovers many times, is the harmonization, because the lovers often indicates heart energy, and we can harmonize things. So there we go. Yeah, that's
cool.
Oh, I'm very excited now for the retrograde. So yeah, and I would write things down that you'd like to release, like difficulties.
Yeah,
and you have to be ready too, I think. If you say you want to release something, or you would like something to change in your life, you have to be willing to let go of something as well, right? Because if I think my husband's never going to change, I need to be willing to let go of that. If I think, he'll never change, then of course the energy is never going to shift it. Never. So good to be able to let go of it. Look at it and go, okay, my view of other people is not important. The only thing I need to look at is what's going on with me to help it move. That's through this retrograde.
Yeah.
But probably good advice the cards are giving for, anything we do in life. But for this particular moment, I think that would be really good.
Cool. Well, let's see what happens over the next few weeks.
Yeah, we might chat about it more depending on what people say.
See how it comes up. Yeah, if you got any comments, put them in the chat and the comments under the video. And if you've got any questions, come back to us and we will catch up with you next week. We'll be in retrograde. Yay.
Yay. Yeah, at least we can say yay.
Anyway, take care, everyone, and we'll speak soon. Bye.
Bye.